Hey everybody, it's Doug here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new playthrough series. This one's going to be a little different than some of my other ones because they're going to be micro, like self-contained episodes where the entire series for this particular playthrough might be 1 or 2 episodes, but then we're going to move to something else. And you notice that if you watch the intro, there's a theme around the streets of New York in the Marvel Universe. And so this time around, we're going to take some iconic characters and some that were in the recent, not so recent anymore, Netflix Marvel series and see what we can do with them and kind of mishmash them, talk about the characters and the villains, and have a playthrough against them. On one of the there's 2 basic sets of New York cityscapes. There's the one from the base game, and then there's the one from the Marvel United Enter the Spider-Verse box. Today we are going to be playing with that one, and I'm going to show that off in just a second, but I just wanted to stage the event and what we're going to do here. So, for example, you can see some of these iconic characters in front of you. This time we're going to be playing against the Kingpin, pardon for the partially painted miniature. I am painting these, and you'll see them probably evolve as we go. None of them are entirely complete yet, but I didn't want to continue to wait and do this series while I was trying to paint like 800 miniatures. There's so many. And there's so many characters that can fall into this category of the streets of New York. And I'm not thinking of like some of the biggest, most powerful heroes that are in New York, like Iron Man, but more along some of the street level heroes like you're seeing here in Daredevil, Elektra, and the Punisher. Now, in game-wise, you know, is it thematically, are they any weaker necessarily than some of the other ones? No, but they still have their unique abilities, and we'll talk about those as well. Okay, well, let's get started. We're going to first introduce you in a little more detail to the location, then our heroes, then we're going to talk about Kingpin, then we're going to play. So the Enter the Spider-Verse locations are, of course, different than some of the other boxes. And in this location, we have the Midtown High School, which basically gives you tokens, which I like. I like some of the ones that give you tokens, but there's a pretty wicked... I did play with my family. We were playing this, and I was able to play Daredevil against the Kingpin in these locations. And if this location, one of the locations ends up on the board, it can create a very powerful combination for Daredevil. We're going to take a look at that. Anyway, we're going to have the Daily Bugle in there. Even though we don't have Spider-Man, you know, J.J. Jameson still doesn't like these guys, so he'll have something to say. But we do get to reveal the top card of the master plan at the Daily Bugle, which is pretty powerful. Of course, we have Osborn Laboratories. Now, the Green Goblin is out on sabbatical or terrorizing some other part of the country, so he won't be there. But the labs are for Osborn Laboratories. And then, of course, you can gain a fight token there. So I like these ones with the tokens. This is the one that creates the powerful... I don't know if we'll have this one in play. We'll see. We're going to shuffle them up and see. But this is the one that gives the powerful combo to Daredevil, and I'll show you that in a minute because you gain a movement token. Then we have Queens. Well, since they don't have Hell's Kitchen, this is about as close as we can get, right? But at the end of the turn, if we have uncovered this, of course, if you have 1 or 2 cards in your hand, you can... This is our healing location, which is nice. We can go basically chill out at Peter Parker's house, I guess. I don't know. And then, of course, the Brooklyn Bridge is similar to some of the locations where you can add a civilian and then rescue one from here. It's pretty good, especially considering the threat of the Kingpin. The Kingpin has some actually unique and special rules. So I'm going to talk about Daredevil first. He's a very mobile character. I mean, I don't know how this combination specifically is going to do, but I wanted to talk to you about... I wanted to show you about the Blind Justice. No, wait, is that the right one? Or is it the Radar Sense? Well, maybe that's not the right one either. I'm going to look at... I thought the one that gave us a massive amount of hits. Maybe this is one. Gain 1 movement token for each... No, that's not it. It's this one. Yeah, it's the Radar Sense. Gain either a heroic or attack token for each location you enter this turn, and you get a movement. So you can imagine if you go to the Oscorp Tower and you gain these movement tokens frequently, you can build up a stack of them and then unload on a villain. This is crazy, right? Because you're going to get you can get an attack token for every location you enter. So you can just circle around the board and bam, 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 and then come down and smack him. I guess thematically he's using his weapon to swing and build up momentum and then come down punching hard on the villain. And those are basically his 2 special abilities. The Blind Justice, you gain a movement token for every thug you defeat. Pretty cool. And then his Radar Sense. So we might see that combo come out in this. We'll see. Depends on the locations we end up getting. Elektra She has a lot of combat, of course, in her skill set, in her cards here. There's a lot of combat. So that's good against Kingpin as well. We end up doing a lot of thug fighting in the Kingpin. And we're going to play on normal mode, so I will have their wild card ones in there. Master Assassin, just 2 hits. Bam, come in and then can move. And then Ninja Training, 2 hits, or you cannot take any damage until the beginning of your next turn. So you have a choice. And she has a third one, her Sai, deal hits in both adjacent locations. That's pretty cool. She can wing her size out and do some damage there. Then we're going to talk about the specials for... Oh, we got one of the Doctor Strange cards in there by accident. Okay, we got the Punisher here. This one's really nasty. Precision, you get 4 hits against a single enemy. Damage you deal this turn can't be canceled or reduced. That's a pretty good card, but it has no special abilities on it. And then he's got Special Ops Training. You can move to any location and hit twice there and then get a movement. Pretty effective. And then he has one more. There we go. This one's pretty nasty too. Heavy Firepower. You get 2 hits in any location and then 1 in each other location. That's basically the big giant rocket launcher he has on his arm there. So anyway, those are our heroes. And then lastly, Kingpin. Now Kingpin has a special ability. It says shuffle the 6 plan tokens, which we have right here. And place 1 on each location with the number facing up. So we're going to randomize that, and then we'll decide. That'll help us decide where we start as well. His special rules are: when a hero is KO'd, Kingpin doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, he plays another Master Plan card, which means that his Master Plan cards can go faster. That's bad, right? So then the game could end up more quickly if we're getting KO'd frequently. We have to be careful about that. His BAM ability is deal 1 damage to each hero in Kingpin's location. That's an easy one. He also has, in his threat cards, he also has Bullseye, which does a similar effect, but in multiple locations. It overflows, so if we have to place a civilian or thug token and we can't do that, then we're going to deal 1 damage to each hero in that location. It's just overrun by thugs and bombs and stuff like that. And this villainous plot is the hero loses when Kingpin discards all 6 of those tokens. So we got to keep him from doing that, and of course you can imagine that his Master Plan cards help him get there. And his threat cards. We'll see the threat cards in that when we set up the board, which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to set it up, and let's first shuffle this up and see what our first our 6 locations are going to be. Or rather, okay. Yeah. Anyway, let's get these mapped out. So we're going to have 1, 2. We did get queens. I'm putting them out over here. Sorry, I should show you. 3. This will be the order that they are on the board as well. 4. 5. You know what? In the Spider-Verse one, I guess we use all of them. I thought there was one we don't use. I'm going to check that out. I'll make sure we're doing it right. I haven't played in a hot minute. I did play just the other week. We had a really fun time. It was great. But anyway, I guess there is no extra cards for that one. All right, well, let's get going. All right, y'all. Here we go. We're getting ready to start this game right here. You see that we have Kingpin. He started up here in Oscorp with his friend Bullseye. And then we have our heroes at the Brooklyn Bridge, which is exactly opposite of Oscorp. And, typically the villains will move in this direction. We'll see, because I'm shuffling up his cards right now for the game. And it could be rather interesting. We'll see how this works out. I'm going to go over the threats real quick so you know what they do. We'll start with, since we're already over there, we'll start with Bullseye. When Kingpin BAMs, says BAM, deal 1 damage to each hero in this location, and both adjacent ones. Discard a civilian from each of these locations without heroes. So he likes to kill heroes. Now remember, all those cool abilities that I talked about at the locations, we can't do until we've tackled these threat cards here. So this one says secrets. As long as as this threat is in play, any rescued civilians are discarded instead of being placed on the mission cards. Mission cards are how we win the game. So we got to get rid of those pretty quickly, at least in that location. Actually, I take it back. This one's worse than that. It says any threat in play. As long as this threat's in play, period, any rescued civilians are discarded, not just the ones on that location. So that's going to be a priority for us. And I think there's 2 of those. Corrupted elite thugs. Any civilian at this location immediately turns into a thug. Each thug in this location requires 2 damage. So it's worse than the one from the base game. A little tougher. Then we have connections. As long as there is threat in play, any defeated thugs on are discarded instead of the mission card. So we got to get rid of, there's 2 of these as well. So we're going to have to decide pretty quickly how we're going to get rid of these. As long as this threat is in play, any rescued civilians are discarded instead of being... So if we want to be able to do anything but clear threats, we're going to have to clear those threats first. Luckily, we're already on one of them, right? So we're going to shuffle up our cards for our characters into our hands. So you draw a hand of 3 cards, and then on your turn you draw one, you play one. Hopefully you don't lose them. Your health is the cards in your hand. If you go to 0 cards in your hand, you are KO'd, and you tilt your character over. As you can see, Kingpin has a special rule for KO'd heroes. He doesn't bam, he plays another one of his plan cards, so that's bad. You want to just shuffle these up while I'm talking. And then we're going to try and avoid being KO'd. That's a bad thing. But we also can't, it's hard to rescue. We don't want to rescue anybody until those secrets are off. So we've got to get that done too. All right, well, let's get rocking. We're going to play Kingpin's first master plan card and see what that does. In the game, it shows you making a big giant circle around the board of cards, but we're just going to go down the line here. And you do need to keep them visible to yourself so you know what's happening. But here, I'm going to get another quick shuffle and a cut. And here's the cut, and this will be our first card, and that'll be the order of which things are going to go. So 0, this is interesting, so he's going to not move. This is probably a pretty good card to start off with, and he's going to bam. Now, we're going to put that way the heck up here. We're going to start to make a chain down the line there. Now, what does that mean? When he doesn't move, right, so he's going to stay right where he's at in Oscorp Tower. He's chit-chatting with Bullseye about this. They're both going to bam. Now, the BAM for Kingpin doesn't do anything. He's right here. So his BAM just says, deal damage to each hero in his location. There's no heroes in this location. However, Bullseye says, deal 1 damage to each hero in this location and adjacent locations. That's not a problem. But discard 1 civilian from each of these locations. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3. He boomeranged, from each of those locations without heroes, which is none of them. So, just want to make sure, and both, hero this location. Discard 1 civilian from each of these locations without hero. Yeah, so just double checking to make sure we got that right. We did, so 3 civilians have gone from there. And that is Kingpin's turn. That was not a bad way to go. So where do we want to start? Let's take a look at our heroes now. Okay, well, we got his big guns. We don't want to do that. What we do want to do, I think, we're going to kick this off here and see if we can get rid of this connections card. And then we can move and get rid of the other one and start to destroy some thugs that have come out on the board. So I think we're going to start here. Punisher is going to simply play Punisher. And it's just going to give him a heroic token, which looks like this. And he's going to take that. He's not going to move. We're far enough away from Kingpin. He's not really a threat. We're far enough away from Bullseye. He's not really a threat. We're just going to place a heroic token on there, and then we'll put this in the chain, which means this is going to go right here. Now, why is that important? Because the next hero that plays gets to use this as well, so we're going to be able to crush this card pretty simply, I think, because we are going to go with Daredevil next. He's next in the gameplay order. I already made a mistake. I forgot to draw his card, so we'll fill out Punisher's hand. So here's Daredevil's hand of 3. We're going to draw a card. That's what he got, but I'm not worried about that card in particular. I do like this one. We're keeping it simple, but that's going to give him this one and the one from the Punisher's cards, and that is going to allow Daredevil to complete this because he's going to get 2 more heroics. So I'm not going to put those out. I'm just going to take this off. So we've completed our first connections card. That means at the end of the turn we can rescue a civilian from any location, but we don't want to do that yet because we can't rescue civilians without them going. They will not go onto there. So we're just going to put this card aside as completed. We're going to take the token from there, and we'll start to clear our first threat. Now, we don't want to clear them too quickly. Like, we want to get 2, and then maybe fill this up. I think since we took out the connection card, we're going to want to take the other one out at Queens, so we can fill up the thugs. We want these 2 cards to kind of come out together, because when this goes away, or any one of these go away, when this slot becomes full, the villain starts going after every 2 turns instead of 3, making us more vulnerable and having a higher risk of losing. So that was Daredevil's turn. Pretty simple turn. None of us have moved. We're going to draw Elektra's card. Let's see what she gets. She's got all of her heroic, or her wilds are out. So I think though what we're going to do. Remember, we want to get to the connection cards, right? Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're actually, unfortunately, already going to play Elektra's wild. going to put that in the chain. Now remember, Daredevil gave her a heroic to use on his turn. So what is she going to do? We're going to use her 2 wild ones to go 1, 2 up to queens. We're not going to do anything else there, but we're going to place down, she's going to start to work on the connections here and show her heroism by trying to take that down. And that will get us to the point where we can then start, and once we clear that, we can start defeating thugs. However, that is the entire turn for the heroes. It's time to draw the next card for the Kingpin. What is he going to do? Okay, well, that's not terrible. He's going to move 1. No bam, so he's just moving here. We're getting some weak cards out at first. I don't know if that's good or bad. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But we're going to take 3 thugs, and we're going to put them on the location to this side. So we're on Oscorp Tower. He will get 1, 2, and we did not have an overflow from there. That's great. And we're building up thugs too. That's not bad. This is not a bad thing for us. So he sent a bunch of thugs up to Oscorp Tower to protect it after he left. He wanted to go to the Daily Bugle and harass J. Jonah Jameson and get him to publish some bad stuff about Spider-Man and Daredevil and heroes that are coming against him. Of course, Spider-Man's off doing something else, but that doesn't mean that Kingpin can't be bad-mouthing him. And that's Kingpin's turn. My lucky 2 turns with Kingpin there that were not bad. That is not terrible. All right, well, let's go back to our heroes. We're going to start with the Punisher. We know we want the Punisher to move, but he does have the 2 wilds from Elektra, but he has no movement, right? That's not great. So we'll draw his 4th card. Look at all this combat. All right, well, so no heroics at all. But he can do some, we know what we can do. No, none of this is working for us because we're going to have to fight some thugs. He can't defeat Bullseye. He can start going to do that. Let's play. Yeah, we can't get all the way to Bullseye. Unfortunately, we can get close, but 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we need 3 movement. We only have 2, so I can do this. We can use his heavy firepower now, or we can just take out a thug. We can move a couple and take out a thug. Nope, can't do that either. This is gonna be one of those turns where we're already starting to run into trouble. Now, if I do this one. It says in any location in both adjacent ones, so I can go anywhere with that. You know what I can do? No, I can't attack in there, but I think we'll have to use this, even though it's going to make it so it's not so great a turn for Daredevil. But we can hit Bullseye without getting on top of him there. That might be a good idea. Let's do that. Okay, so Punisher is going to play his heavy firepower card. And remember, you can do these it doesn't matter what order we do this in, but we're going to hit this guy here, right? Now, unfortunately, it's still not that great because we are only going to be able to take out the 2 thugs here, but I really didn't have anything better to play. I guess I could have just wasted one of his hit cards or not moved as far. We could do that. Huh. Yeah. You know what we could do? I'm going to take that back. I'm not going to do that. That's wasteful of that card. We are going to just play... we're going to play a 2-hit card for him. It's going to be that. And then let's go on. So he's going to have 2 wilds and 2 punches. So here's what we're going to do with those. So here is Frank. Now, this isn't going to help us from getting our quest completed, but it is going to help us from having overruns on the cards. So he's going to use 1 of the wilds from Elektra to move to here. That's good. And then he will take... Now, in this location, I did correct this. The thugs are... The corrupted elite thugs. I did turn the civilian into a thug there. I didn't do it in the setup, but I did do it now. And so we do have that to deal with now. And they're 2 each. So he will use his 2 hits to take out these 2 thugs. That is good. And then he's going to use the last wild to start to get rid of that. Why not? Get rid of this thing on the board. Might as well take as much opportunity as we can. That's not the best opportunity, but it is what it is. Okay, now we got Daredevil. These are his 3 cards. He does... could use this. Oh man, that is fantastic. Unfortunately, it's all punches from the Punisher, so we got to try and get him to move. So I guess, God, I really do not want to. I do not want to use that now. Wow, we can't move him. What do we do here? Let's see. I was hoping he would have got a move on a card, but he didn't. I don't know what to do with this at this point. We got punches. I could take out the 1 thug, but remember, they're just getting discarded, not going on our board. I could rescue a civilian. We could do this. No, I don't want to use that one. We could do this one, gain a movement token for every civilian you rescue. It would only give him one. It seems so wasteful. And we can't move anywhere. So we got 2 punches. We can take the thug out there. Awful. I think we're just going to waste this punch. We'll put that in the timeline. That means he's got 3 punches, and all he's going to be able to do with them is take out this here thug. That's it. And it doesn't go on our defeat thugs board, which is really bad. That was just an awful turn for him. He could not move or do anything, really. That sucked. But I didn't want to wait. I'm not ready to waste his special cards. By the way, this is the Daredevil miniature. It actually turns out pretty cool and it's painted. I'm not the best painter in town. I'd get him what we call table ready, just to get him to a point where they're cool. They're better to look at than gray or blue or whatever they are. Okay, so let's move on to Elektra. We're going to take her next turn. This is her card. That's good. A heroic. That's actually really good for us. But do we have more heroics we can use? We don't. But I think we'll just play this. There's no thugs and no movement, so this is still a very weak play for us. Okay, but that's what she's going to do, and she is up in Queens, so we'll play that in the timeline. And that means Elektra is going to get another piece of this puzzle completed. Let's put that on there, right? Okay, and that is helpful because that's the one that we want to clear so we can start to actually use our ability to defeat thugs and take them down. I mean, I could have played this and moved, but it wouldn't have mattered because she got what she needed out of there anyway. It's just kind of a weak play because we can't use the punch from Daredevil from the previous play. Okay, so that is going to be the end of that. We're going to move on and play another card from our good old friend Kingpin. Let's do that. So Wilson Fisk is done harassing J.J. Jameson at the Daily Bugle, and he says, you know what? I haven't done enough bad stuff lately, so here we go. Now, there's no BAM. That's relatively interesting. That means we're going to get a lot of those at the beginning. But he's going to move 5, so let's take a look at the board. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. He's moving all the way back, all the way around, back to the tower. And here's where things get really ugly for us. So we have an overflow right where he's at, because we cannot place in this location. We cannot place these guys, right? So, but we can't place the other ones. So let's get everybody placed out. We can place a thug here, and I think you can see it all. Yes. A thug there and 2 civilians. It's not terrible, but now it's full, and see, now we're starting to run into a bunch of problems. My pro studio, where you hear dogs barking and all kinds of things all the time. As soon as I start, you could not hear a dog for hours, and as soon as I start filming, either the neighbor dog, my own dog, or some other dog starts going at it. Okay, so next up, we're going to do the same thing up north where Elektra is, and this isn't a bad thing either. So way up here, I think you can see that, right? Yes, you can. Okay. Way up here, we're going to place a thug and 2 more civilians down. And then we have the overflow. Now, overflow doesn't push things out anywhere for us. It just says if 1 or more thug token can't be added to a location, deal 1 damage to each hero in that location. So we are going to do a damage to Elektra. And I guess don't want to take these 2 out. That's bad. So I guess we'll do this double hit and put it on the bottom of her deck. She has taken damage. There's no heroes in the other locations. I think we're okay there. Alright, so we have completed the Kingpin's turn. Let's continue on. I think that we're going to pause here because I don't want the episodes to be too long. So we'll probably break this entire playthrough into just 2 quick episodes, and then we'll move on to the next group of heroes and villains we might be playing. Hopefully I'll get some of them painted. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I hope you enjoy this quick little playthrough of Marvel United, The Streets of New York. And I'm having fun with that. I always like this game. So once again, we'll see you in the next episode. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.